Good afternoon, everybody. It's Valerie Ling, the clinical psychologist with the Centre for Effective Living. On this rather dreary day, I had thoughts that I would actually do this video from outside, but I've been told that it's the coldest day in, I don't know, 110 years or something, which certainly makes sense because I stepped out this morning to run a few errands and I came back needing to thaw. So I'm inside. Lighting's not very good, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me. So today is the start of my vlog about connecting with our kids during the school holidays without losing it. And I wanted to say that I think I could talk a lot about this topic, but I'm going to do this week's videos on primary school aged children and leave the teenagers for next week because they're actually quite different in terms of the season that they're in and therefore the kinds of connecting that we do with kids. So let's stick with primary school aged kids for today's video. And my first video is actually to calibrate as parents our mindset. To talk through the mindset of school holidays, the expectations that we have for ourselves and for our kids during school holidays. Hi there, there's one person watching at the moment. Okay, so I actually was curious to find out what the history of school holidays was, and so I Googled it to actually find out, what is the history of school holidays? And I actually discovered that school holidays is an artifact of a time when children actually helped their families in the fields. So first of all, the school hours apparently was crafted so that they could come home early enough to contribute to the household chores and going out in the fields and helping with the crops and the produce after they'd done their academic learning in the morning. And school holidays coincides with the need for children to actually not go to school and spend the majority of their days actually out helping their parents in the fields. So not quite sure what fields your kids are working at the moment, but it just goes to show that the origins of school holidays from the function it used to serve to what it serves today is actually quite different. And put then also that many parents work during the school holidays, and it's this incredible stress and tension of juggling your work program, which does not go on school holidays, and you may not have leave, and trying to find very scarcely available spots for childcare. So the first thing to say is that school holidays is really not a rite of passage of, by any means, the need for children to grow and develop to be healthy human beings. So the second thing to say then is what can be the function of school holidays for children? Well, school holidays, especially for the younger children who have just started school, is a time really to just pull back and rest from the schedules, the routines, the rushing about, the having to wake up at a certain time and get their bags and things ready and get out the door. It can also be a great relief for parents to not have to do those mandatory things of school lunches, all the extracurricular things that go with it, and school notes. Don't you just hate school notes? I dislike school notes so much. And basically, therefore, it gives both parents and kids a period in time to come to a restful space together where you can, one, connect with your child again, and for your child to connect with you. Two, for the child to connect within themselves, the kinds of things that they like doing. And three, I actually think it's also a great time for families and children to connect with their wider community. So today I'm just going to speak a little bit on those three areas just to set up the mindset for what school holidays can mean for connecting with your kids. So the first thing I'm going to say is connecting with parents. Now, interesting, when we do work out with separation anxiety with children, remember I'm talking about primary school age children, and in this case the younger ones, quite a common theme for kids is when their parents go away or when they're dropped at school, they have no idea where parents go. What happens to them? Do they fall away into some abyss? Does some scary monster wrap them up and take them away? They don't actually know what their parents are up to when they're not with parents. And so school holidays can actually be a great time for children to witness your daily routine. The boring grind of housework or going to work. It gives them an opportunity to touch base with your world. And so it's okay to actually not necessarily send them to the field, but it's actually okay for them to watch you and to be a part of your routine for when they're in school and they don't actually know what's happening. So I often say that it's quite important for us as parents to be authentic in our parenting. It's actually okay for our children to see us in our natural environments when we're doing the groceries, when we are paying bills, when we are just chilling out, when we're having lunch, when we're having our tea break. So this gives them an opportunity to link in with our world. Second, connecting with themselves. So if you think about the last time you took some time off, maybe you haven't, or you've thought about when you last took a period of leave from work and you started to ask yourself, what on earth am I going to do? I don't know what to do when I'm resting. Well, this comes from possibly not actually being in touch with our own needs for rest and recovery and recreation. And for our kids, this is a great time during the school holidays for them to connect, to get a sense of activities which they enjoy, people that they enjoy being with, stuff around the house that they like doing, and for them to actually experience hobbies or interests or preferences in a really low-key time of the year without having to rush off to school. So you might want to think about with your child and ask them, what are some of the activities that you'd really like to do, not necessarily going out activities, but even just within the home that you really wish you could do, but there's never really enough time when we're at school. So that could be, for example, they might really like to do some creative things, some craft things, or maybe it's kicking a soccer ball around in the yard, or maybe it's spending time with pets or doing messy things, playing with water or those sorts of things. So think first about the activities that they can do in the home, which comes from their own likes and preferences, that with the older primary school age kids, that can lead into some awareness even for things like hobbies. So interest, preferences, hobbies, these are great things for kids to have because it's part of a repertoire of emotional regulation tools that they can go to when they're feeling upset or when they're bored or when they're just needing to calm down. So that's the second thing I would say, is it's an opportunity, school holidays, for kids to actually connect with themselves and take stock of just activities and interests which they have for themselves. The third and the last thing I'm going to say is school holidays is actually a chance for kids to connect with their community. So what does this mean? This actually means, especially when we are at school and it's such a hurried and frantic pace with school, we might be very selective with the people that we're actually seeing. So school holidays is a time to pull back and to actually broaden those connections. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, kids in the neighborhood street, people that are part of your own friendship group who have kids, that they can you can come together and actually just hang out and together and reconnect. And that just gives kids the opportunity to actually socialize and be part of the network that you belong to and part of the network of family. And it's a time, school holidays can be a time that some of those community connections are scheduled in and pursued. So remembering that school holidays is not it's not a holiday from life. Life still keeps going. Children's developmental needs are still there. The need for good quality sleep, the need for regular meals, the need for active time, but also a need for downtime. All of those things remain the same. But perhaps what we can anchor in terms of what we can be purposeful with school holidays is a time for connection. One, for kids to connect with themselves, their interests, their activities, their likes, their hobbies. Two, a chance for them to connect with you as parents, to actually just see what your world is like, even though it seems boring and mundane, but it helps them to feel a part of your world. And three, it's an opportunity to connect with the wider community as well, of the rich web of relationships that they have in their lives that they may not get a chance to enjoy and be a part of in the busyness and the hurry of school holidays. So that's just vlog 1, and I hope to come back to you. I will put a notice up again for when this goes live again. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.